of Rock, the hit Broadway musical, is coming to Newcastle. Based on the legendary film, and with a rocking new score from Andrew Lloyd Webber. School of Rock the Musical lands in Newcastle, July school holidays. Book now.
Toronto folk singer is dead after she was attacked by a pair of coyotes.
What is the monkey doing? Tell me what the monkey...
He hit your face off!
We actually have a trainer in the water with one of our whales.
If I show weakness, if I retreat, I may be hurt, I may be killed.
Baby Azaria Chamberlain was taken by a dingo back in 1980.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Man Eaters, the only true crime podcast on the internet where all the killers are real animals. Whether it's biting, scratchings, maulings, or clawings, we're here to talk about it. As always, I'm your host, Jimmy or James. I don't like the name James. It sounds too weak. I don't like a name that ends with an S. James or Chris. I like a strong name, like John. So you can call me from now on, you can call me John or Johnny or John Belaya or Little John or Big Papa Bear John, Little Pin Dick Rick, Rick's Bisquick Stick, Thick Dick McGriff, Dick Smash McIroncock. All those are great options you can call me. Actually, no, none of those are good options. Let's just go back to James. Or Jimmy. Jimmy's cute. Anyway, guys, welcome back to another episode of Man Eaters, episode 99. Can you believe it, folks? Wow. If this podcast was a dude, 99, wow, I would be in a nursing home, just absolutely shitting my pants, just wrecking whatever chinos the nurses put me in. I would absolutely be the least favorite resident of all the nurses. I wouldn't do anything creepy. You know, like a lot of old people, a lot of old men probably sexually harass a lot of the nurses. I wouldn't do that. I would just find myself being a nuisance, a bother, really. I'd be picky with my food. I'd refuse to bathe. As I said before, I'd do a lot of poopies and a lot of wee-wees and then have to just deal with that because I'm 99. And today's podcast is 99. Look at us go. Can you believe it? I certainly can't. Today, guys, we are cracking on with our series, The Kill Countdown, the top 10 most deadly individual animal man-eaters in history. We're on to part 3 today, but before we do that, let's again, we're switching it up like we have for the last few weeks, and I think this change might be permanent. Let's kick today's episode off with, you know what time it is, guys. It's the Scratch of the Day. Scratch of the Day, of course, the segment of the show where we look at animal attacks and animal-human conflict that has occurred in the news in the last week. And, while we talk about it, we learn a little bit about it with each other. And starting off today, a pretty wild story, no pun intended. This is reported by ABC News in Australia. A man has been killed in a suspected bear attack in central Japan amid rising attack rates. This was posted yesterday, so this is quite a recent story. The dot points, or in short for this story, a construction worker has been killed in a suspected bear attack in central Japan. The man was found in a forest with large scratches on his face and back, and the attack is the latest incident as bear attacks on humans continue to surge in record rates in Japan. Let's just dive in and read all about it. The reporter for this story, I should mention, do we have one? They haven't credited a writer yet, so I can't. Let's make up a name for them. This person who wrote this story is Lexi Billbottens. That's right, Lexi Billbottens writes. A 58-year-old man was killed in a suspected bear attack in Japan on Friday, according to Japanese media. Construction worker Yashuriko Kobayashi was found dead in a forest in Shinomi. I should have read the story ahead so I could say the words. In Nagano Prefecture in central Japan, according to the local police. The man had large scratches on his face and back, and police were investigating the possibility of a bear attack, Japanese broadcaster NHK reported. According to local police, Mr. Kobayashi was found by a colleague who had been searching for him after he had gone to a work site the day before and had not yet returned. The village is a mountain-surrounded town known for its beautiful natural scenery. According to NHK, 4 other people have been attacked by bears in Nagano Prefecture this month, with injuries ranging from minor to serious. The prefecture has issued a, quote, black bear sighting warning for the entire prefecture, urging people not to enter the mountains at dawn and dusk when bears are most active. This attack is the latest incident in a surge of bear attacks on humans in Japan. Japan recorded 219 bear attacks on people in the last 12 months leading up to March this year, including 6 fatalities. It was the highest number of incidents and sightings since records began back in 2006. So the question is, why are bears attacking people? Why is that increasing in Japan? Well, thousands of Asiatic black bears live in the wild throughout Japan, roaming in mountainous areas. The scarcity of acorns, berries, and other food, possibly connected to climate change, is something blamed for the surge in bear attacks. Some bears are now skipping or delaying hibernation as a result, making them crankier and hungrier. Last month, 2 police officers in Japan's northern prefecture, Akita, were seriously injured when they tried to retrieve the body after a suspected fatal bear attack. Quote, the bears know humans are present and attack people for their food, or recognize people themselves as food, Akita government official Mayami Kondo said. There is a high risk that the same bear will cause a series of incidents. Independent bear expert Kazuko Maita from the Institute of Asian Black Bear Research and Preservation agreed that some bears were likely viewing humans as prey. But he said this was only true in specific areas of Akita, not across the entirety of Japan. Quote, there are areas that are inhabited by bears that have inherited an aggressive family lineage, he said. Mr. Maita stressed that bear fatalities remain rare and wanted authorities to continue investing in non-lethal bear control methods. Well, there you go. It does seem that since this show has started, the rate of bear attacks in Japan have surged indeed. We've covered many stories of Japanese people being attacked by bears. Last year or the year before, there was that great footage of that guy climbing a mountain and the bear attacked him, and I believe that was in Japan. And then only a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, we had 2 bear attacks in Japan, one of which was a couple of men in a van or a truck reversing down the road as a black bear very aggressively chased them down. So yeah, it's interesting. I wonder if, a lot of people are very skeptical of climate change, and it does seem that climate change gets blamed for a lot. But I wonder if, if this is a case of climate change really having a real-world effect here and now. And it's something that we might need to look out for across all regions of the world, not just Japan. But yeah, this is a suspected bear attack. It's not confirmed yet. There has been no bear apprehended or confirmed to have been responsible for this death. So hopefully we do get a follow-up on that in the next few days with either a confirmation or a dismissal of the claims that it was a bear. But if that happens, we will keep you updated next week and we'll let you know what happened. Okay, let's move on to our next attack. We're going from Japan to France. 2 of the languages that I could have learned at school. Actually, I did learn French, but I forgot it all. At my school, you could do French, Italian, or Japanese, and all the smart kids chose Japanese, and all the dumb kids chose French, and yeah, I chose French because I'm dumb. And no one picked Italian because like, why the fuck would you do that? Why would you pick Italian? Okay, excuse me. The Inquirer reports, wolf attack at French zoo leaves a woman fighting for life. This was recorded on June 23rd, 2024, which was yesterday, actually. The article was written by Agnes France Pressé. Is that what that... Wait, no, is that a name or is that... What is that? Let me... Oh, no, sorry. I'm so dumb. I thought it was the name of the person writing it. It's French for like the Agency French like Archives or something like that. I'm so dumb. Maybe we edit that out, guys. Okay. And now I've got to redo my ad block. God damn it. This was not worth it. How do I stop it? Yep. Refresh. Okay. Can we please read the article? Fantastic. Okay. This occurred in Paris, France. I will be in Paris, France in October this year. 3 wolves in a zoo outside Paris attacked a 37-year-old woman, leaving her fighting for her life, a source familiar with the case and local prosecutors said. The woman was bitten on the neck, the calf, and the back at the Thory Zoo, around 40 kilometers west of the French capital, the source familiar with the case told AFP. Marion, what's her name? Marion Calibote. Calibote. That's kind of Italian. I don't know. Chief prosecutor in Versailles. It's Versailles, isn't it? Said the woman's life was in danger. The woman is believed to have gone out alone for a jog after spending the night with her family in a safari-style lodge at the zoo, which it advertised on its website between 220 and 760 euro per night. That's like $810. Jesus. Lodges in the wolf zone promise, quote, silence, rest, and disconnection, according to the zoo's advertisements. They offer, quote, one-of-a-kind, very intimate experience with the Arctic wolves you'll be able to see from the living room. The woman, quote, ended up in the safari zone, which is supposed to be restricted to cars. That's when she was attacked by 3 wolves. She added that it was not clear whether she made a mistake or the trail wasn't clearly marked. First responders got to the scene very quickly. The wolves were moved away and then returned to the area. The source familiar with the case earlier said the woman must have got through, quote, security systems, a trench, and an electric fence supposed to keep the animals in. Police are investigating the incident. Thory Zoo was found in 1968 by Paul de la Panus, owner of a local chateau that had been in his family since the 16th century. He recalled to a regional newspaper in April how he initially stocked the zoo with a ship loaded with 120 animals brought from Kenya. The zoo was sold to a group of investors in 2018. So this woman has just gone out for a jog and has ended up being mauled almost to death by 3 wolves. Guys, I know a lot of us take our fitness very seriously. I know I don't, but I know a lot of you do. A lot of you are religious with you go for your jog or your walk in the morning. I'm just going to say, if you're on a holiday and you're staying in like a safari zone or a zoo, or, just take a day off. Just sleep in and look at the wolves through the window. Like, I stayed overnight at a zoo in Australia. I wouldn't have gotten up and gone for a jog. I know that the animals aren't supposed to be there, but, like, what if they are? And also, it just seems she really had a lot of determination. If she got through security systems, a trench, and an electric fence, I don't know. This sounds kind of fishy. I don't know if maybe this path wasn't signed clearly for this woman, because she must have been really determined and dedicated to run where she was running if she got through an electric fence designed to stop animals. Wow. Okay, well, obviously that's very sad. Hopefully those wolves are okay, and hopefully the woman recovers. I will be in Paris later this year, and I won't be making a stop to the zoo, but I will be going to the Moulin Rouge, and I am excited for that. Because of titties. I'm pretty sure you get to see titties there. And, I know you can see titties there because I've been there before. And, pretty great. Paris is a cool city. People shit on Paris a lot. People always say that the people there are really rude. When I was there, everyone was nice and lovely. I've seen, they apparently treat you like shit when you speak English, but like all the waiters were very kind and they spoke English, and it was, it was nice. So I don't know. People in London were far more rude than the people in Paris. And the people in Sydney are the worst people in the world. So, Paris, you're okay in my book apart from the random wolf attacks. All right, let's move on one more time, one more story. California survivor of shark attack recounts fight with animal. This is reported by The Guardian. Okay. Caleb Adams tells NBC emotional tale of swimming through his own blood to get help for bites to his torso, arm, and hand. A man who survived being bitten several times by a shark while taking a dip off the coast of California says he fought so hard that he may have hit the animal inside its mouth before he then swam through his own blood to reach safety. "I'm very thankful," 46-year-old Caleb Adams said in an emotional interview with NBC News correspondent Gady Schwartz that aired on Tuesday on the network's Today Show. The general public faces slim chances of ever enduring what Adams did on the 2nd of June. In 2023, there were just 69 shark bites worldwide, 10 of which were fatal, that were considered to be unprovoked, according to the University of Florida's International Shark Attack File. But such attacks dominated news headlines globally after Adams became one of at least 4 people in the US to be bitten by sharks in 3 different encounters only days apart, with the other cases occurring in Walton County, Florida. As Adams told it, he and 18 other members of his open water swim group were swimming off the shore of Del Mar, California, when he felt, quote, a strong hit to his body that he instinctively knew was a shark. "I tussed with the animal for what was seconds," said Adams, who punched the predator as best he could. "The second I struck the animal, I felt a softer tissue. I'm going to speculate that it was inside the shark's mouth, and I had several cuts on my hand and my wrist." Adams said that the point that he realized he would not be able to make it out of the water alive on his own. He told NBC that he yelled just 2 clear words, "help" and "shark." Fellow swimming group member Kevin Barrett, heard what he knew was a real scream and headed to Adams as quickly as possible. The shark was gone, but Adams was bleeding profusely from his chest. Barrett told NBC that he helped Adams swim back to the shore, where, quote, the traumatic extent of the injuries became obvious. "It was not pretty," Barrett added. Adams emerged from the water only about 100 yards from a beach safety center, Del Mar city officials said in a statement. A lifeguard arrived, held up Adams's chin with one hand, and urged him to avoid looking down as first responders loaded him onto an ambulance, according to NBC. Adams was taken to a local hospital to be treated for bites to his left hand and arm, as well as his torso, said city officials, who temporarily closed the beach afterwards. According to NBC, Adams described himself feeling physically strong despite his wounds, which left him with stitches and scars across his arms and across his torso. The attack unfolded along a coastline where the white shark populations have been rising for years. Adams said he was grateful for having, quote, a beautiful community to lean on as he focused on recovering, but his complex sentiments about his ordeal bubbled to the surface when he returned to the Del Mar beach for an interview with NBC. "It's emotional being here without question," Adams said. Damn. That is every shark attack stories hit different for me. It just always seems so serious. I don't know. To be bitten on the chest as well. That's crazy. He was really lucky that when he came out of the water, he was so close to a beach safety center or whatever it is. Yeah, wow. Good on him. Good on the guy. I'm glad he's alive. All right, we have one more story, but it's not really part of our Scratch of the Day segment. It's part of a newer segment that we've been doing that we like to call the Dickhead of the Day. Our Dickhead of the Day is Jason Lee Kennedy, who has been jailed over a badger and a cat mauling, according to the BBC. Let's read a little bit more into it. How do I say this name? I literally Googled it before we started recording. How do I say it? I say it's... Fermanagh. Okay, cool, great. A man from County Fermanagh has been jailed for animal cruelty offences after he filmed a cat and a badger being mauled to death by dogs on his phone. Jason Lee Kennedy, 35 years old, from Marble Arch Road in Forest Court, pled guilty to 3 charges of causing unnecessary suffering to animals and 2 of causing or attempting to cause an animal fight. That's a very specific law. causing her attempting to cause an animal fight. Wow. The judge at Donegal, God, London, England, you've been around for long enough, you should be able to name your places better. Dungannon. The judge at Dungannon Crown Court said it was a disturbing case. I find it impossible to understand how many... Sorry. Bad. I'll try again. I find it impossible to understand how any human could deliberately set up the circumstances for such cruelty to another animal, she said. His explanation that what he did was vermin control was dismissed by the judge. Yeah, bad explanation, bro. In my opinion, what the defendant did was for some distorted view of sport and is sadistic and cruel. As can be imagined, the suffering of the cats and the badgers who were attacked by several frenzied dogs is immense, the judge added. She sentenced Kennedy to 27 months, half to be served in custody and half on a supervised license. The charges arose after the police searched a property at Ross Road in Ballinalec. They found over a dozen dogs which they believed were being kept for fighting. The defendant was arrested and his phone seized, which was found to contain a number of videos. Oh, that sucks. A video dated 28th June 2022 showed Kennedy outside a kennel run containing a cat and a dog. Two further film clips from that date showed the cat attempting to escape, but it is attacked by 4 dogs and killed. Oh, fuck. That's awful. A video taken on the 4th of July 2022 showed Kennedy dragging a badger by a rope. How do you get a badger? In England, can you just get a badger? Can you just find one and take it home? 3 more videos show how the badger, which is a protected species, is being attacked by up to 9 dogs before it is killed. A video. Oh, I really don't like this guy. The prosecution said it was impossible to tell from the videos if these were different badgers. The dogs also suffered injuries from the incident. As well as a prison sentence, Kennedy was banned from owning animals for 10 years. Ban him forever. After 10 years, why would he be better at it? He didn't... okay, whatever. In a statement, the lead officer from the police service of Northern Ireland... Oh, it's in Ireland? Oh. Okay, well, it's still the UK. In Northern Ireland, Rural and Wildlife Crime Unit welcomed the conviction. Superintendent McDowell commended the work of the local officers in the Erne West local policing team in bringing Kennedy to justice. It's Irish, so I should do a different accent. We very much welcome the court's decision today to convict Mr. Kennedy of the brutal infliction by these animals. Terrible, Superintendent McDowell said. This case not only demonstrates the commitment we as a police service have in tackling wildlife animal crime, but also the fighting offences committed, which police take very seriously. He said, police have a responsibility to protect animals from unnecessary suffering, whilst investigating all reports of organised criminality and abuse. Superintendent McDowell said the 3 dogs seized by police in April 2022 were taken into care before being rehomed. Well, there you go. Jason Lee Kennedy, you are absolutely the dickhead of the day. You're the wanker of the week. You're the mutt of the month, and you are the I don't know what starts with Y. Yankee Doodle Dandy of the year. I don't know. You're the douchebag of this decade. I don't want to stop. Okay, I'll do one more. The cock of the century, and the muff head of the millennium. Okay, we'll stop there. Okay, great. Well, that made me nice and angry. Let's take a break now to cool our heads off before we jump into the meat of the bish and we talk about part 3 of our kill countdown. All right, let's go have a break. Go and do a wee. And we are back. I'll tell you what, folks, it is brisk here in Newcastle, Australia today. I'm recording Monday morning. This episode is going to be late, by the way. Like, I'm literally recording it and then it's going to go out because I've been busy with School of Rock. If you're around the area, I think there was probably an ad at the beginning of this episode, but if you are around Sydney or Newcastle, please come to see me in School of Rock. It's a great show. We had the kids playing live instruments yesterday. They sound great. It's a killer show. So yeah, make sure you come. But yeah, that's why this episode's a little bit late. And as I was saying, yeah, it is a very cold, brisk morning here in Australia. I don't know if you've seen all the TikToks people have been making about how cold it is here. A lot of Canadians and like people from the UK and the north of Europe, very surprised at how cold it can actually get here. The reason is because the houses and apartments that we built, they're not great at keeping heat in or out. I think that they were like, we have a choice between making the houses feel hot or making them feel cool, and most houses decided neither, please. Neither or both. It is freezing, and a lot of people will actually go outside to warm up a little bit, so that's not great, is it? But I'm making do. I got my little flannel on. I'm feeling nice and comfy, ready to jump into part 3 of our kill countdown. So over the last 2 weeks, we've tackled numbers 10 through 5 of the top 10 deadliest man-eaters in existence. I'm not talking about the species of animal. I'm talking about individual man-eaters, serial killing animals that have the highest death tolls among them. Now, today, we're tackling number 4, number 3, and number 2. And the next week, we'll be finishing our series off with episode 100. And it is quite fitting. We will be finishing it off with a deep dive, going back to where it all began and talking about the tiger of Champawat, the Champawat tiger, which of course it's a bit full circle because that's what the first episode of this show was about. So we're going to go and research the shit out of that and see if we can uncover any other mysteries that may have arisen around that particular subject. But for today, we are talking about the 3 runner-ups of the serial killer animal crown. And we're going to start with number 4. So let's get into it. Number 4. Number 4, the leopard of the Central Provinces. The leopard of the Central Provinces, a region now largely encompassed by the state of Madhya Pradesh in India, was a formidable predator that stirred both fear and fascination in the early 20th century. This notorious feline, also known as the man-eater of Sonoy, embarked on a lethal spree that left an indelible mark on local folklore and British colonial history. The leopard's reign of terror, lasting from the late 1910s to the early 1920s, resulted in the deaths of over 150 people, making it the 4th deadliest man-eater in history. The Central Provinces during this period were a blend of dense forest, rural villages, and colonial administrative outposts. These forests provided the perfect cover for a stealthy predator like the leopard. Now, unlike tigers, which often preferred larger prey such as deer and antelope, leopards are highly adaptable and opportunistic hunters. This particular leopard, having perhaps been injured or finding human prey easier to catch, began targeting humans with chilling regularity. One of the reasons the leopard of the Central Provinces became such a successful man-eater was its ability to blend into its environment. Leopards are nocturnal creatures, adept at moving silently and unseen. The local villagers, with their rudimentary defenses and limited means of protection, found themselves at the mercy of an invisible predator. Night after night, the leopard would slip into huts, dragging its victims into the dense undergrowth before anyone could raise an alarm. It's as if the leopard had a standing dinner reservation in each village, except no one wanted to be on the menu. The British colonial authorities, initially dismissive of the locals' plight, eventually recognized the severe threat posed by the man-eater. Efforts to track and kill the leopard involved organized hunts with experienced shikaris, hunters, baiting strategies, and even bringing in renowned hunters. An unidentified British hunter stationed himself in a large village, where he worked with the local Thana to gather data on the leopard's predation. A man came into the hunter's camp one morning 10 days later, saying that the leopard had tried, but failed, to steal a small child the night before by breaking into a hut in a village 1 mile away from the camp. The girl's wounds healed when the hunter bandaged them. 2 days later, the leopard attacked another village. For 3 weeks, the hunter looked for the leopard from his camp, but he was unsuccessful. As the number of fatalities increased, the hunter was thinking of setting up camp when a child approached him from a village 4 miles away, telling him that the leopard had taken his brother as they were herding cattle. In the hopes that the leopard would be coming back for the boy's corpse, the hunter perched himself on a tree at 2 p.m. The leopard arrived at night, and because of the dense creeper vine canopy and the darkness, the hunter was unable to acquire a clear shot with his rifle. The hunter attempted to frighten the leopard into emerging so he could get a good shot, but nothing scared it. Not even shooting into the air could deter the animal. The villagers noticed the gunfire, but the hunter yelled at them to go away. A few hours later, at around 1 a.m., the hunter fell asleep and woke to see the leopard scratching at the base of his tree. After a short while, the leopard went away, but it came back 3 hours later to complete the meal. The boy's hands, feet, and a few bones were all that was left of the body at sunrise. After a mile-long search, the hunter gave up trying to find the leopard, just in case it was still there. In an attempt to have more luck, the hunter relocated his tent 10 miles away for a few days. The hunter was awoken from his sleep on the second night after arriving. The leopard was scratching outside his tent, but the local villagers yelling sent it away. This leopard, with its superior intelligence and instinct, often outwitted traps and evaded hunters, adding to its legend. What made the leopard of the Central Provinces particularly terrifying was not just its high kill count, but its apparent boldness and cunning. It adapted its hunting methods, sometimes striking in broad daylight and even evading traps set specifically for it. Stories spread of its almost supernatural abilities, further embedding the leopard into the local mythology as a creature of the night, more ghost than beast. However, the leopard's reign would eventually come to an end. In 1926, after several failed attempts, the beast was finally brought down. 3 days after the unknown hunter failed to kill the cat, the leopard attacked the goats of a Gond farmer, but was driven off. Upon shortly returning, however, it was fatally shot with a projectile propelled from a gas pipe 5 yards away from it. The Gond presented the hunter with the leopard's skin and its stomach contents, among which was a ball of human hair, thus confirming it as the man-eater. The hunter purchased the hide for 10 rupees, later noting that the fur and claws were all in fine condition, not what was to be expected from an old, infirm animal. There were no signs of past injuries which could have prevented it from hunting, thus leaving the hunter to conclude that the leopard had probably been fed human flesh as a cub by its mother, likely a man-eater herself. The villagers and colonial authorities alike breathed a collective sigh of relief as their long nightmare was finally over. The killing of the leopard was not just the end of a deadly threat, but also the closure of a chapter that highlighted the uneasy coexistence of humans and wildlife in colonial India. Now, despite its fearsome reputation, the leopard of the Central Provinces also serves as a reminder of the fragile balance between nature and human settlement. The encroachment on natural habitats and the resulting conflicts often leave wildlife with little choice but to adapt in ways that can be dangerous to humans. Today, we look back at the story of this notorious man-eater. It's worth pondering how current conservation efforts can prevent such tragic encounters in the future. In the end, the leopard of the Central Provinces might have become the subject of countless campfire stories, but it also taught a crucial lesson about respect and caution in the wild. After all, as any seasoned camper could tell you, it's not the noise in the jungle that should scare you, it's the silence. And we are now at number 3, the third deadliest man-eater in history. Someone that we've covered before in a very early episode, I believe episode 3 or 4. It's a story that you'd be very familiar with, and it's of all the man-eaters on the list, it is the most recent. In fact, It's the only one of the man-eaters that could theoretically, potentially, still be alive. I'm talking, of course, about Gustave, the killer crocodile. Gustave, the infamous Nile crocodile of Burundi, has gained almost mythical status over the past few decades. This massive apex predator, reputed to be the largest of his kind in Africa, has been subject to countless stories, sightings, and even a feature film. Estimated to be over 20 feet long and weighing around a ton, Gustave's legend stems not only from his impressive size, but from his alarming reputation as a man-eater. The locals attribute over 300 deaths to this elusive giant, making him a creature of both fear and fascination. It is unknown exactly how long and how much Gustave weighs. He may be easily more than 20 feet, which is 6.1 meters long, and weigh more than 2,000 pounds, which is nearly a ton in metric, according to 2002 National Geographic estimates. He is thought to still be growing and is older than 60 years of age. The 3 bullet wounds that Gustave has on his body are one of his most distinguishing features. Significant injuries were also discovered on his right shoulder blades. The circumstances pertaining to the 4 stars remain unclear. Scientists who have researched Gustave assert that because of his unusual size and weight, he would be unable to pursue the typical agile prey of Nile crocodiles, which include fish, antelope, and zebra. Instead, he's forced to target larger but slower animals, including humans and buffalo, as well as hippopotamus. A well-known local warning claims that, despite being called a man-eater on a regular basis, he frequently leaves his victims' corpses uneaten. Living in the murky waters of the Ruzizi River and the northern shores of Lake Tanganyika, Gustave has managed to evade capture and the death despite numerous attempts by hunters and scientists alike. His size alone sets him apart. Adult Nile crocodiles typically reach around 16 feet, but Gustave's immense girth and length suggest he is well beyond the typical size range, possibly due to his age, with some estimating his age to be over 60 years. This longevity has allowed Gustave to not only grow larger, but also develop a unique set of survival skills that make him particularly elusive. One of the most compelling aspects of Gustave's story is the trail of physical evidence that he leaves behind. His body bears the marks of numerous encounters with humans and other predators, scars from bullets, spears, and even missing part of his tail. These battle wounds have only added to his legend, giving an almost supernatural aura of invincibility. Locals speak of him with a mix of awe and dread, recounting tales of his nighttime raids on livestock and even humans. The efforts to capture or kill Gustave have been numerous and varied. In 2004, a team led by Patrice Fay, a herpetologist and naturalist, attempted to catch Gustave using a specially designed trap. The effort was documented in the film Capturing the Killer Crocodile. Over the course of 2 years, Patrice Fay and other scientists made an attempt to catch Gustave. A 2,000-pound trap cage with a length of over 30 feet was created. After locating Gustave, the group set up the trap, baited it, and concealed an infrared camera inside. They used a variety of baits, but none of them drew in Gustave or any other animal. Then, in an attempt to improve their chances of being captured, the scientists placed 3 enormous snares strategically on specific banks. Gustave escaped the traps, but lesser crocodiles were trapped. A live goat was placed in the cage by the team in the final week before they were forced to flee the nation due to ongoing civil strife. The camera malfunctioned due to a thunderstorm, and the goat vanished the next morning, leaving the cage partially submerged in the water. Though no conclusions can be made without the video recording, the crew surmised that either the cage failed or the increasing waters had made it easier for the goat to escape. In terms of personality, Gustave has become something of a celebrity. Much like a Hollywood star, he has his own set of myths and legends that grow with each retelling. Stories of his cunning, his escapes, and his enormous appetite have been passed down, each generation adding their own embellishments. Some locals even believe he is a supernatural being, a manifestation of the river spirits, given his almost ghost-like ability to appear and disappear. If Gustave ever run for political office, he'd probably win in a landslide, or rather a riverbank slide. Bad joke. Despite the fear he inspires, Gustave also serves as a stark reminder of the delicate balance between humans and nature. His predations, while terrifying, are also a consequence of human encroachment onto his natural habitat. The wetlands and rivers of Burundi, like many natural habitats around the world, are under pressure from agriculture, settlement, and industrial activities. As human populations grow and expand, encounters with large predators like Gustave become more frequent and often more deadly. The fascination with Gustave highlights a deeper connection between humans and the natural world, a blend of fear, respect, and curiosity. His story is a modern-day reflection of ancient myths about man-eating beasts and the unknown dangers of lurking in the wild. In a world where most of the unknown has been charted or mapped, creatures like Gustave remind us there are still mysteries out there ready to be solved, and wild places that hold secrets beyond our own understanding. When we look into Gustave's story, it is clear that much of what is known about him comes from local anecdotes and the few documented efforts to capture him. His exact size and the number of human lives he's claimed remain subjects of speculation, as definitive evidence is scarce. However, his impact on the local communities and his place in modern folklore are undeniable. Gustave, whether seen as a monster or a marvel, continues to haunt the waters of Burundi and the imaginations of those who hear his tale. In 2009, Gustave appeared in the Ruzizi River near Lake Tanganyika. A 2019 article about travel in Burundi, a writer for the Travel Africa magazine, reported learning that Gustave had been killed. It is not said how he was killed or by whom, and no photographic evidence has ever surfaced, leaving these claims dubious until more concrete evidence of his death is brought forward. For now, we have to assume that Gustave is still alive and kicking out there in the rivers of Burundi. Well, we're nearing the end of the road here, guys. We're finally up to number 2, the second deadliest individual animal in human history. This animal we have covered before. It is, of course, the leopard of Panar. The leopard of Panar, a creature that once haunted the forests and villages of India's Samoan region, stands as one of the most notorious man-eaters in history. This fearsome predator, active in the early 20th century, left an indelible mark on the local population and on those who attempted to track and end this deadly spree. Responsible for over 400 deaths, this leopard's reign of terror was ultimately brought to an end by the legendary hunter Jim Corbett, whose encounters with the beast have since become the stuff of legend. The Samoan region, with its dense forests and rugged terrain, provided the perfect backdrop for a leopard to thrive. Leopards by nature are elusive and solitary animals, capable of surviving in close proximity to humans without detection. The leopard of Panar, however, broke this typical pattern by preying on humans. Various factors likely contributed to this shift of behavior, including injury, loss of habitat, or a scarcity of natural prey. Whatever the cause, the leopard's actions plunged the region into a state of fear and chaos. Local villagers lived in a perpetual state of anxiety, knowing that the leopard could strike at any time. It was said to be so bold and cunning that it would either enter huts through the cover of darkness and drag them through the forest before anyone could react. The mere sound of a rustle in the night was enough to send shivers down the spines of villagers as families huddled together, hoping they would not be the next target. The leopard of Panar seemed to be everywhere and nowhere, a ghostly presence that defied capture and retribution. Enter Jim Corbett, a man whose name would become synonymous with the hunting of big cats. Corbett was not just a hunter, he was a keen observer of nature, a conservationalist at heart, and someone who understood the delicate balance between humans and wildlife. While he took on the task of hunting the leopard of Panar, he did so with a deep respect for the animal and recognition of the tragedy that had unfolded in the region. Corbett's pursuit of the leopard was not a simple or straightforward task. It required patience, skill, and an intimate knowledge of the leopard's behavior. Corbett meticulously tracked the beast, using his understanding of its habits to predict its movements. Nights were spent in tense vigil, often with bait and traps to lure the leopard out. It was a game of wits, one that pitted human ingenuity against animal instinct. Imagine, if you will, a high-stakes chess match, except the loser ends up as the other's dinner. He first heard of the man-eating Panar leopard while hunting for the Champawat tiger. 2 years later, he was in Panar in search of this leopard. Corbett travelled to the area and began to track the large male leopard. Villagers took him to the house of a distressed man whose wife had been attacked the night before. The two spent the night with the leopard at the door. It was trying to force its way in, trying to finish the kill. Of this attack, Jim Corbett wrote the following. The man's wife, a girl of about 18, was lying on her back when the leopard clamped its teeth into her throat, and when the man got a grip of her arm and started to pull her back, the leopard, trying to get a better purchase, drove the claws of one paw into her breast. In the final struggle, the claws ripped through the flesh, making 4 deep cuts. In the heat of the small room, which had only one door and no windows, in which a swarm of flies were buzzing, all the wounds in the girl's throat and on her breast had turned septic, and whether the medical aid could be procured or not, the chances of her surviving this were very slight. So instead of going for help, Jim decided to stay the night with the man. Jim Corbett said, I very sincerely hope that no one who reads this story will ever be condemned to seeing and hearing the sufferings of a human being or of an animal that has the misfortune of being caught by the throat by either a leopard or tiger and not having the means, other than a bullet, of alleviating or ending the suffering. Leopards usually attack the neck or back of their prey. A leopard bite can injure or destroy the jugular veins and carotid arteries, causing rapid, massive blood loss. The spine may be crushed and the skulls may be punctured, exposing the brain. Attack survivors usually suffer significant trauma to the head, neck, and face. Leopards also like to hold their prey in trees and return for the corpses over time. As a result, leopards have a lot of bacteria in their mouth. Before antibiotics, 75% of survivors would have died from infections from a leopard bite. Corbett made his first attempt to kill the man-eater in April of 1910, where he remained awake all night listening to the painful breath of the dying girl. The only sign of a roaming leopard was the alarm cry of jackals in the distance. His second attempt did not take place until September of 1910. Corbett travelled 30 miles through the rainforest to remote villages plagued by leprosy, connected only by trails. There he came to know of the recent attacks on a village across the river. By walking up the hills, crossing a raging river without bridges, and sleeping in the deep open field in the leopard's territory, Corbett reached the village. The most recent attacks took place here. 4 people were killed. To entice the Panar leopard, Corbett put 2 goats on a stake and lay there to wait. The big cat took the first goat and disappeared. Then, 3 days later, Corbett tied the second goat to a tree about 100 feet away and waited all day and all night. The leopard finally arrived, making only the sound of killing its prey and a small white patch of goat's fur. Using his sense of hearing alone, Corbett fired his shotgun and wounded the big cat, but it managed to escape. Corbett then made all of his men stand behind him with torches, and he made them promise to him that they would not run no matter what happened. Then they went across the field and started brushing the other side. The showdown between Corbett and the Leopard of Panar culminated in a dramatic and tense encounter. After days of tracking and close calls, Corbett finally faced the leopard in a confrontation that would test his skill and resolve. There, suddenly, the great man-eater came out of the brushwood and attacked the famous hunter. Everyone turned and ran immediately, but luckily, one of them dropped their torch in the middle of the air, giving Corbett enough light to shoot the leopard in the chest, ending its reign of terror. The moment of triumph came with a mix of relief and sadness, for while the man-eater had been vanquished, the loss of so many lives and the death of such a magnificent creature weighed heavily on Corbett. Corbett's success in killing the Leopard of Panar brought a much-needed sense of safety and closure to the terror-stricken villagers. It also cemented his reputation as a legendary hunter and an advocate for balance between humans and the natural world. His experiences and reflections on these hunts were later chronicled in his books, such as The Man-Eaters of Comoan, which I've read, and it's amazing, and you should get it on Amazon, which offers a window into the challenges and complexities of dealing with man-eaters. The legacy of the Leopard of Panar serves as a poignant reminder of the intricate and often fraught relationship between humans and wildlife. As human populations expand and encroach upon natural habitats, such conflicts become far more likely. The story of the Leopard of Panar is not just about a deadly predator, but about the broader consequences of habitat loss, environmental changes, and the sometimes devastating impact these can have on animals and humans. In reflecting on the Leopard of Panar, it is crucial to recognize the broader environmental and ecological context that give rise to such situations. The tale is a cautionary one, urging a balance between development and conservation, and underscoring the importance of coexistence. After all, if there's one thing we should learn, it's that sharing a neighborhood with nature requires respect, understanding, and sometimes a really sturdy door on your hut. And there you have it, guys. Part 3 of our kill countdown: the Leopard of the Central Provinces, Gustave the Killer Crocodile, and the Panar man-eating leopard. We only have one more stop left, and it's number 1, and we already know who that is. It is the Champawat Tiger, which we will revisit next week on a brand new episode of Man-Eaters. That's going to do it for our episode now, though, guys. I will see you for the conclusion of this series, and also for our 100th episode. Kind of a weird chapter closing a little bit. I feel like for years it's always been, when we do the 100th episode, blah blah blah, and we're finally there. So I'm very, very excited and a little bit emotional to record that episode, but please fear not. There is plenty more Man-Eater action happening after that episode. This is just the beginning. I've got big plans. So thank you for sticking with me, and thank you for listening to this episode. As always, gang, all the social media bullshit you can do. There's Instagrams you can follow. Of course, Instagram is the best way to get in touch, but we do have an email. We have a website. We have a Patreon. So please go and look at all that good stuff. And yeah. Have a really great week, guys. I will see you for episode 100 in 1 week. Stay safe out there, because as we've learned, it's a jungle out there.